Welcome back to Manifest She. I'm Shannon, and this is where we talk about all things manifestation, and we really dive deep into my favorite tool, the vision board, but in a different way, because I do vision boards in a different way where you can really maximize a lot of the mindset tools within one tool. It's like a combination, an explosion. But I do that because you deserve to live your dream life without exhausting yourself to get there. And I know that mindset tools work and the things that we do for our brains so we can manifest what we desire work. But I also know that women are busy, especially when you're first starting on this journey and you don't have time to do all of the things. And that's why I used my background in psychology and in teaching to combine it so that it's easier for you. And one of the things that I do want to call out today is something that I see with vision boards, with manifestation, with all of the things. And most people don't realize they're doing it because you think you are manifesting. You think you're going beyond where you currently are to get something new, to experience something new. And so you think you're creating your dream life, whether that's on a vision board or scripting it out or making an affirmation or anything like that. But really, what you're doing is fantasizing. And I really want to talk about this because I feel like in the manifestation world as a whole, it's a lot of focus on fantasy. And if you just think the right things or do the right ritual on the right manifestation portal, all will be well. It'll be super easy and you'll get what you want. And you can get what you want. It can be easier than working really hard. But I think that it's a big red flag and it's pretty dangerous when we cross into wishful thinking, when we go into fantasy instead of working with our desires, because we can't manifest fantasy, but we can manifest desire. And there's a difference. If you're using a vision board, which I highly recommend as your tool for transformation, and you're just collecting cool things that you don't really think you can have, it's totally not possible. I need you to spot that. And I need you to be like, whoa, girl, red flag. Because there's different zones that we manifest in. I talk about this in the 5-minute fix because once again, I feel like, especially with vision boards, they're really stuck with goals or fantasy. And nobody wants to talk about the truth because selling you the fantasy gets clicks and likes and makes you feel all good for a second. And then it makes you feel really shitty when it doesn't happen for you. And you see stories of like, oh yeah, it's happening for people, these things that I want. You know, maybe it's some beachfront house or a private jet or a luxury lifestyle. Or maybe it just looks like, going on vacation for more than a few days or a long weekend. And you think, oh, that's so cool. And I can do this because everywhere is telling me I can. I just have to think about it. I just have to stay positive and it's going to happen for me. And so you save it and you put it on your vision board or you write about it or you think about it in an affirmation every day. And if you're being really honest with yourself, do you believe that's going to be your life? When you look at it or think about it, is it more like, yes, it would be so cool if that happened? Like, imagine if I actually had a beachfront house like Emily Thorne in Revenge. That would be insane. But like, that's probably not actually going to happen for me, but it's fun to dream about. And that's the energy you need to cue in on when you're doing this. Unfortunately, that's a lot of the energy that is sold to you is that if you do something once or you think about it, it should be inevitably yours. And if for some reason you don't get on the right frequency or jump to that timeline, it's a you problem and you're doing something wrong. But I don't believe that. I believe you haven't been taught how manifestation works. Truly, I believe that you've been sold a fantasy. People who get those things, that's not fantasy for them. That's desire-based energy. But they're telling you that that's yours. And you just really need to know where you land, where that is for you. And it doesn't mean you're a small thinker, right? Because people will say, well, you're thinking small and you're limiting yourself. It's not about limiting yourself. There is nothing wrong with the fantasy. The wrong part comes in when we don't work with desire and we can never get there. Like these people who are selling that online about all of the things that they get by just thinking the right thoughts for like 30 days, they're already in a space to get that. Like, it's no longer in wishful thinking. It probably was a wishful thinking for them at one point, and they bridged themselves there. And I teach the bridge on how to get there, but how to get there is not just daydreaming about the fantasy, if you will. There's a specific process. So it's not forgetting that having Emily Thorne's beach house would be really cool, or guys, all her outfits. I love her dresses. Like, that would be great. It's getting yourself there step by step. Unfortunately, we want lots of quick fixes. And so we jump straight into fantasy. But fantasy is detached. And here's the thing, when you jump to fantasy and it's so detached, you never get it anyway. You stay stuck anyway. Where you are. Like, oh, that life would be amazing, but you never really actually see yourself living it. And that's where desire is different, because your desire has a belief you can build behind it. It feels like this is mine. It is mine. Maybe I don't see it in this 3D world externally from me yet, but it's mine. Because desire starts inside. You know how they say, oh, your subconscious doesn't know the difference between reality and like being fake? Like, it doesn't know the difference between true or false. I always like to push back on that, because the world that we experience, if you understand the brain, I talk all about this in the Vision Lab, is that what you're experiencing on the outside is what you believe on the inside. So the reality actually does come internally first, and then it's experienced externally. So desire it is mine. Without a doubt, it is mine. It's not something that's fun to imagine on a Saturday while I'm washing dishes. I know it's mine. So we don't need to treat our vision boards and our manifestation like fantasies to be going all out, to be going all in. Because then it just becomes a collection of pretty pictures. It would be nice to have, but it's never going to happen. But hey, I'm going to dream about it, because if I just dream about it for a few minutes a day, at least it takes me out of it and I can escape what I'm experiencing right now. But you're truly not changing the inner world so that you can experience something different. And so desire says it is mine. You don't have it in the external world, but you can build it in the internal world. Fantasy is so detached, and I know a lot of people in manifestation say you have to detach from the outcome. No. To manifest, you have to build a belief. Whatever you believe is what you experience. And that doesn't mean goal setting. Like, there's a difference between all of this. 5-minute fix is always in the description. So you can get really into that, and you know exactly where to put stuff, and it guides you to understand and bring that awareness to, is it a goal? Am I manifesting? Or is this wishful thinking? Because wishful thinking is that it's really not for us, but it's a nice fantasy. It's not my life, but it would be nice. Desire is something you can actually work with. Desire and building new internal beliefs allows you to close the gap from what you're experiencing right now to what you will experience. Wishful thinking just reinforces the gap of what you don't have. But when you learn to work with and embody what you're believing with a desire, a true desire, that isn't where you are right now. See, a goal is where you are right now. You can just do it. You can just go and do it. There's strategy and steps, and there's a time and place for that. It is available to you. And if it's something that is available to you, you want, and you need to take the steps to go get it, go get it. Goal setting is not bad. It's not a zero-sum game of I have to manifest everything or set goals for everything. And also, I'm not getting stuck in wishful thinking land, because the fantasies are going to keep you stuck, because you're detaching from any kind of internal true belief building because you're so far away from it. And we have to bring it closer. And because we have to think about our nervous system, and we have to think about our subconscious, and we have to think about how the mechanisms inside of us, how we were created to make our realities. We have to acknowledge those things. And so that's why I don't just coach how to manifest and how to use vision boards, but I actually teach you, once again, using my teaching experience, to break it down. Because once you understand how you work, and I know we want it to be mystical and all woo and spiritual, and it is, if that's what you want it to be. or it could just not be that. Because the cool thing is, it's how we're built. It's how we're created. And so however you connect to your creation, that's for you, but it doesn't change for anybody. You can just not believe in any of that and still create the reality you want, because biologically, that's how you are. And if you're like, you know what, I feel like I'm part of a greater universe, a greater set of beings, absolutely. I don't know how we got created this way. Once again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. What I do is not to try to pinpoint exactly why we were created this way, who created us this way, what God or not God or universe or whatever that is. That's not where I stand. That's for other people. That's not my passion. My passion is simply the fact that we are who we are. We're made how we're made. And how our mind directly impacts our reality and what we experience is scientifically proven, regardless of how it came to be. Like, I'm not the how it came to be person, okay? But I am the person who can help you to harness that and to understand it and to teach you to do it, because it works for us all. But it doesn't work in a sense that we're passive about it. We hope the universe drops it in our lap, but then also there's shame from people that come from that. Like, that bothers me. It bothers me when people say you just have to think it. That's it. And then you feel like you didn't think the right thoughts, and then you're constantly monitoring your thoughts, and now you're feeling judgmental towards yourself and all these things, and all that does is mess up the process. And so that I don't do here. We're not going to do it here. I want you to be able to have the life that you want without being stuck thinking you're the problem. It's about belief building. And my job is just to simplify it for you so that you don't have to get caught up in the nuances or the vagueness of, I want it. Yes, we all want a life where we never have to think about money. Let's just be real about that. So much stress comes from money. But then we also don't want money to change us. We don't want to be an asshole because we have money, because we see lots of people with money who are assholes. We don't want to have to be a different person or lose people. I just did an event, a spring equinox event, where we talked about letting go to let in. And another thing that's not taught, because it's like a zero-sum game. All this stuff about it being a zero-sum game, all going back to wishful thinking and fantasy. That if you want this thing over here, you have to completely become somebody new and different and let go of everything you are. And that's not the case. Not if we understand how our brain works, and not if we work within desire. Because I can have the desire to keep things that feel good to me and bring in new things that I want to experience. And I can have the desire to let go of things that I wanted at one point, but I don't want those anymore. So none of it is a zero-sum game. None of it is just hoping, wishing, and praying. And really, that's what wishful thinking is. It's hoping, it's wishing, it's crossing your fingers, it's praying for some miracle. And around here, I always say we don't manifest miracles, we manifest our lives. Because if you manifest a miracle, you get it for a short period of time, and then it's gone, and you have to continue to try to manifest another one. And that just puts you in this like stress loop, right? When we're waiting on a miracle, usually we're stressed out because we need something to happen. We need something to break right now. And so for today, I just want you to understand that it's not about wishful thinking. And it's wonderful to have big, beautiful dreams that are, to me, and Never Never Land. I have Never Never Land dreams. But understanding the process, I know how to bridge to that. At one point, I couldn't have ever imagined my life would be what it is today. For me, just being able to pay bills without stress, what are you talking about? Like, for me, that was wishful thinking. If I could just not have to stress and like wait till payday, right? Like now something comes up. Okay, so for example, there would have been a day if something happened to my vehicle, it would have been devastating and set me back financially 5 years. I just had like the blower on my car go out that blows the heat and the cold. It was a $1,700 repair. And I was able to just take it and get it fixed, not even thinking about it. Never in my life would have thought that had been a possibility back then, right? Back then, thinking you just take it to the shop and you don't have to wait till your next paycheck, or you don't have to wait till tax time to get it fixed. You just go take it in and get it fixed. Like, that was complete fantasy to me. To me, the bridge really was, I can pay all my bills on time. I don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Oh my God, I have an extra $100 left over. Like, there was bridges that got me to this point. And so I'm not saying these fantasies that you have are wrong, or you shouldn't, or you should disregard them. They are telling you something, but we have to bridge our way there. And that's why when we're working in the Vision Lab, we use the possibility spectrum. And that's what I talk about in the 5-minute fix, is so that you can manifest. Because had I just been hoping and wishing, I never would be where I am today. You have to bridge yourself. You have to bring your nervous system along with you. You have to bring your brain along with you. All these things work together, and it's not impossible, but it's just, where am I putting my energy right now? Instead of putting my energy into fantasy, it's fine to imagine and to fantasize. That tells you a whole lot about the things that you want to desire. But where do you actually put the energy of your work? What pictures do you put on the vision board? You're not putting the fantasy yet. You're putting the bridge to bring yourself along, and it's not a goal because it ain't available to you yet. And I know that sounds nuanced, and I hate vagueness and nuances, but that's why I explain it all in the 5-minute fix in detail. And that's what we work on in detail in the Vision Lab. So we know where to work, and it's not guesswork, because you shouldn't have to guess about it. You should learn how you function, how that relates to your reality, and then how to create it in a way you want, because you have that power. Because the power for anything that you want is already in you. It's learning to work with that power. And that power comes from your mind. Did I blow your mind? Was that too woo for you? I don't know why we think that's woo. It's fine for our brain to do math equations and advanced algebra, but it's not okay for our mind to dictate any of our other experiences. That's how we were built, y'all. That's how we were made. And so as I leave you today, I want you to think, when you're going to think about your next thing that you want to manifest, that next thing that goes on the vision board or in your journal, is it a fantasy? Do I feel like, yeah, it would be nice, but I really don't believe that's possible for me at all? Or is it really a desire? Is this a desire that I can work with, that I can internally build belief? Because once you have the belief, then you automatically experience it. And if you want help with that, if you want a guide to take you through that so you know exactly where to work, so you can get the results the fastest without having to force it or make 5-step plans, then get the 5-minute vision board fix. It's always in the link of the podcast. I want you to grab it, and it's going to help you so that you can focus your energy and move. And eventually those things that are in wishful thinking won't be so far off. I love you, and I'll chat with you next week.